Good evening. Thanks for joining me this Monday. I'm Otto Othman and these are the headlines. Police foil assassination bid in terror plot. IPCMC to be established by end of this year. And millions of Filipinos cast ballots for midterm polls. The Independent Police Complaints and Misconduct Commission, or IPCMC, is expected to be established by the end of this year. Home Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said his ministry is prepared the cabinet paper on the commission for approval.
IPCMC akan nanti terbentuk dan ini memerlukan masa untuk kita menghalusi lebih terperinci sebelum ia dibawa kepada pihak jemaah menteri. Saya jangka mungkin tidak terlalu lama dan di samping itu penggubalan rang undang-undang IPMC yang saya kira sudah pun dimulakan akan dapat diselesaikan dalam satu tempoh yang tidak terlalu lama dan bagaimana yang dijangkakan atau diharapkan boleh dapat kita bentuk IPCMC ini sebelum akhir tahun sebab apa yang boleh. Ya, kerana ada beberapa sesi parlimen yang akan kita hadapi sebelum akhir tahun ini untuk membolehkan rang undang-undang IPCMC itu dibentang dan diluluskan di parlimen.
Last week, the police finally gave their consent for the formation of the IPCMC some 14 years after it was first proposed. Inspector General of Police Dato Sri Abdul Hamid Bado said that their consent was based on the guarantee that police powers would not be diminished. The IPCMC was mooted by the Royal Commission to enhance the operation and management of the police in its report published in May 2005. Meanwhile, Bukit Aman Commercial Crime Investigation Department Director Dato Mazlan Manso is the new Deputy Inspector General of Police, or DIGP. The 58-year-old received his appointment letter from Tan Sri Muhyiddin today.
Saya yakin dan percaya berdasarkan kepada pengalaman beliau dalam Polis Diraja Malaysia yang agak lama dalam pelbagai sektor dan gandingan mantap dengan yang berbahagia Dato' Hamid Bado sebagai Ketua Polis Negara yang baru. Kita mengharapkan pasukan Polis Diraja Malaysia mempunyai kepimpinan yang bagus, yang boleh meningkatkan keyakinan orang ramai terhadap apa yang akan dilakukan oleh Polis Diraja Malaysia untuk masa-masa ke hadapan.
The DIGP post was vacant for almost 2 months following the retirement of Tan Sri Nur Rashid Ibrahim on March 17th. Throughout his career as a policeman, Dato' Mazlan had held various positions at district and state level and Bukit Aman headquarters. Among the posts he held were Ipoh CID Chief, Malacca Police Chief and Selangor Police Chief. 4 people, including 3 foreigners, have been arrested for allegedly being involved in militant activities. The suspects, who were caught in raids conducted in the Klang Valley and Terengganu, were planning terror attacks and assassinations in the country. Inspector General of Police Dato Sri Abdul Hamid Bado said that several high-profile personalities were targeted in the assassination bid. At a media conference in Bukit Aman today, the IGP said that the 3 foreigners comprised 2 from the Rohingya ethnic group, with both aged 25, and 1 Indonesian, aged 40. The 34-year-old Malaysian was arrested on May 5th in Kuala Berang, Terengganu, where he was employed as a construction worker. After his arrest, police seized 6 improvised explosive devices which were brought in from a neighboring country, and a CZ 9mm semi-automatic pistol with 15 bullets. The other arrests were made 2 days later in Kuala Lumpur and Subang Jaya.
Keempat-empat suspek yang ditangkap mengaku menganggotai sel Wolfpack pengganas Daesh serta bersedia untuk melancarkan serangan di Malaysia pada minggu pertama bulan Ramadan bagi membalas dendam terhadap kematian Muhammad Adib Muhammad Kasim yang terkorban selepas cedera parah dalam insiden rusuhan di Kuil Sri Mahamariaman Seafield.
According to the IGP, 3 more suspects are still at large. Those with information on any of the trio's whereabouts should contact Investigating Officer Assistant Superintendent S. Manivanan or the nearest police station. In the meantime, Bukit Aman police have smashed a drug trafficking syndicate with the arrest of 2 local women and a syndicate member at around midnight yesterday. The women, who strapped drugs worth about 8.16 million ringgit to their bodies, were nabbed at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport KLIA before they got on a flight to Busan, South Korea. The duo were aged 26 and 31, while the syndicate member was a 21-year-old local man who was picked up at a hotel in the Klang Valley. The man is believed to have helped the women attach about 5.1 kilograms of methamphetamine to their bodies using adhesive tape. The women were paid 1,000 ringgit and were provided plane tickets and hotel rooms in Busan. They were promised additional payment of 15,000 ringgit upon their return.
Cara mereka membawa dadah adalah body pack ataupun lekatkan dadah di badan, dan mereka siap sedia untuk terbang ke negara Korea Selatan, itu ke Busan melalui penerbangan di KLIA di penerbangan antarabangsa kita, dan pada masa sebelum mereka berlepas, kita terus membuat serbuan ke tempat penginapan mereka yang dalam proses telah mengikat dadah-dadah tersebut di badan.
He explained that the seized drugs, worth about 50,000 ringgit per kilogram in Malaysia, is worth around $400,000 or 1.6 million ringgit per kilogram in South Korea. The trio have been remanded until May 18th. A man with a dato title was among 3 people arrested when Klang police busted investment fraud syndicate known as Pelaburan Jasman involving millions of ringgit. Police believe the syndicate had been active for the past 2 years, with thousands falling victims to the fraud. The suspects, between the ages of 40 and 53, were picked up in a series of raids around the Klang Valley and Tumpat, Kelantan earlier this month. The first was held on May 5th in Klang, Selangor, while the second suspect, the Dato', was nabbed in Subang, Selangor. The third suspect arrested is the mastermind behind the syndicate. Police are now tracking down 4 other individuals who are believed to be the investment agency agents.
MO dia sama macam iklankan lah kutipan dana ni, yang mana dia menggunakan nama Wall Street Becom, yang mana pelaburan ni dia kata bila labur RM1,000 dia akan dapat RM1 bilion, dan segala dokumen itu memang ditunjukkan kepada orang ramai lah, agar untuk menarik perhatian orang. Dokumen dan juga cek yang menunjukkan bahawa dia menerima dana daripada Amerika Syarikat.
Police also seized 42 items, including 3 luxury vehicles, a Toyota Velfire, Toyota Hilux and a BMW, as well as luxury handbags, watches, laptops, cash and transaction documents. Bank Negara Malaysia also confirmed that the collection of the funds did not exist and was not registered. The first and second suspects are in remand until today, while the other suspects' remand ends on Wednesday. The case is being probed under the Penal Code. The remand order on a senior DBKL official involved in allegations of bribery worth 200,000 ringgit has been extended for another 4 days. Magistrate Shahwira Abdul Halim issued the extension order. The senior official, who holds the position of Senior Deputy Director of a department, was remanded along with 4 civilians. All 5 individuals, aged between 41 and 57, were picked up at a restaurant in Kuala Lumpur at about midnight on May 8th. The contractors were believed to have been engaged for upgrading works on DBKL's infrastructure facilities. Their remand started last Thursday after the magistrate allowed the application of prosecutors from the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC. In connection with the same case, former press secretary to Datuk Seri Tengku Adnan Tengku Mansor and another individual who had been remanded earlier was released by the Putrajaya Magistrates Court today. They were released on a 4,000 ringgit bail each with one surety, while their passports were handed over to the MACC. All the individuals were remanded 5 days from May 9th to assist in investigations under the MACC Act. In Kuching, Sarawak, the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, detained 29 Vietnamese nationals in 2 fishing vessels for encroachment and fishing illegally in Sarawak waters. MMEA Deputy Director General of Operations, Commander Hamiluddin Che Awang, said the detainees were all men aged between 20 and 50 and were picked up some 80 nautical miles from the northern coast of Kuching at 5 p.m. on Saturday.
Semasa dikesan, kedua-dua bot ini sedang melaksanakan aktiviti menangkap ikan. Semasa pihak kami melakukan pemeriksaan ke atas vessel tersebut, didapati tekon dan awak-awak gagal menunjukkan sebarang dokumen pengenalan diri yang sah, juga berkenaan dengan keizinan untuk menangkap ikan.
The authorities also seized items worth 2 million ringgit, which included 2 vessels and 3 tons of fish. Speaking at a press conference at the Abang Salahuddin Maritime Complex, Hamiluddin said the suspects would be taken to court and remanded for further investigation under the Fisheries Act. A man and a woman were killed after the car they were traveling in crashed into a bus stop at 2:30 this morning in Georgetown, Penang. Investigators are still trying to determine the cause of the accident, but first responders are saying the car had skidded before the impact, causing it to turn turtle. The victims have been identified as 25-year-old Andy Mayrick from Cheras and 29-year-old Jose Dolisip from Kota Marudu, Sabah. They both died at the scene. Rescuers took over an hour to extricate their bodies from the wreckage as the victims were pinned from the seats. Their bodies have been sent to the Penang hospital for post-mortem. When we return, a medical innovation to treat patients with paralysis. The details next. Thanks for staying with us. Now let's hop on to our daily segment, Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Videos currently making its rounds online showing a group of teens harassing a senior citizen has sparked anger among netizens. Disrespecting your elders is probably one of the saddest behaviors in society, and in those videos there doesn't seem to be any reason for the teens to be bullying the elderly man. The boys, however, didn't get away with their childish behavior that easily. Here's the story. The videos circulating on social media have garnered hundreds of thousands of views since its upload yesterday and were allegedly taken in Sijangkang, Selangor. One video shows the group of teenagers hanging out on their motorcycles, with one of them sitting on the elderly man's motorbike, jeering at the man. The same boy also looked like he was wearing the man's kopia. Even as the old man tries to ride off, they continue to mock him and taunt him. Well, as the saying goes, what goes around comes around. As soon as the villagers heard about the incident, they were, of course, not happy. A big group of them flooded one of the bullies' homes that evening and demanded an explanation from them. Judging from a picture of the teens during the confrontation, it seems like they got a taste of their own medicine and, hopefully, learned their lesson. Education is one of the most valuable assets as a parent can provide for their children. Some might even go to the extra mile to inspire their kids to go to prestigious schools. A father from northern China, however, took it to the next level when he made his daughter attend the school's open day despite having been attached to an IV drip. Heng Shui Middle School in Hebei Province is considered one of the most esteemed middle schools in the country. And this father was so keen to inspire his young daughter about the value of a good education that he took her to an open day, even though she reportedly had a high fever and was attached to an IV drip. The video of the pair was posted on Chinese social media Weibo and has been making its rounds. The footage shows the girl and her father on campus as he held a wooden pole with his daughter's IV drip attached at the top. According to South China Morning Post, the girl had apparently been sick for 4 days prior to their visit to the school and was running a very high fever. However, determined to give his daughter a better education, the father decided she should not miss the open day and still took her to the event, repeatedly telling the child that she must get in the school and must always live up to her dad's expectations. In Penang, the body of a newborn baby was discovered at a dump site in Ipoh today. The baby girl, whose umbilical cord was still attached, was found wrapped in a towel and stuffed in a blue basket at Halaman Meru, Impian. Police were dispatched to the scene after an emergency call by a member of the public was made at about 1:50 p.m. Ipoh District Deputy Police Chief Superintendent Marzuki Mat said no documents or other items were found at the site. Police have yet to ascertain the actual age of the baby, while the body was sent to the forensics unit of the Raja Permaisuri Bainun Hospital for a post-mortem. The investigation is still ongoing and police are intensifying efforts to identify the suspects in this case. Malaysia has become the first country in the ASEAN region and fourth in the world to offer Cyberdyne hybrid assistive limb hull treatment, an innovative medical technology to treat patients with paralysis or weakened limbs. Human Resources Minister M. Kulasegaran said the treatment is equipped with 24 units of hull robot suits developed by Cyberdyne Inc. Japan.
The treatment is available at the Neurorobotics Rehabilitation and Cybernetics Center at the Social Security Organisation Suksos Tun Abdul Razak Rehabilitation Center in Ayakaro, Melaka. According to the minister, the center is able to treat SOCSO-insured persons with paralysis or weakened limbs caused by injury or central nervous system disorder, such as spinal cord injury, stroke, traumatic brain injury, multiple sclerosis and neurodegenerative diseases to regain their ability.
Hajat kita adalah dua yang besar. Nombor dua, untuk to put him back in the normal self before, seperti yang dia ada sebelum itu. Dan kedua adalah supaya memberi ruang untuk dia bekerja balik. Ini akan memberi lebih manfaat bukan saja kepada pekerja, tetapi juga dalam dia boleh guna pakai dia punya tenaga kerja untuk become a more relevant person in society.
Kulasegaran said to date, 100 SOCSO-insured persons had undergone the Cyberdyne HAL treatment at TRRC that started in November last year, where most of these patients suffered from spinal cord injury or stroke.
Dah dalam sebulan lebih. Sebab sebelum ni tak pernah tahu kata ada kat sini. Lepas tu sebelum ni pun 100% lah atas wheelchair kan. Sekarang ni sejak datang sini dah boleh berjalan pakai alat ni and then boleh jalan pakai tongkat lah.
Currently, there are almost 100 SOCSO-insured persons on the waiting list to get the treatment.
The Education Ministry said there is no shortage of English teachers, as claimed by the Teachers Union and UTP. Its Director General, Dato' Sri Amin Senin, explained there are many teachers who can teach English in schools.
We have the unjuran or forecast of the teachers, and for the time being, usually we are not very much shortage of teachers because we can top up with now we put the interim teachers for the English teachers and the other one for the English interim. For the time being, we are going using the interim teachers and the non-option. Actually, a lot of these are non-option teachers. But they can teach English.
He was responding to NUTP Secretary General Harry Tan, who had claimed a lack of English language teachers and that forcing non-English language teachers to sit for the Malaysian University English Test or MUET examination will not resolve the issue. Meanwhile, the Education Ministry is agreeable to the proposal for group insurance scheme for teachers. Datuk Sri Amin said the ministry will approve the new scheme if the proposed terms and coverage are reasonable and prove to be better than the current insurance scheme issued. Now, after the break, Tabung Haji records net profit of 440 million ringgit in first quarter. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, as a result of the successful completion of its restructuring and rehabilitation process implemented at the end of last year, Lembaga Tabung Haji TH posted a sustainable performance by recording a net profit of 440 million ringgit in the first quarter ended March 31st, 2019. In a statement today, TH said during the quarter, its earnings totaled 623 million ringgit. The Pilgrims Fund Board added that it expects the revenue to continue to increase from the second quarter onwards with the insurance of Sukuk by Urus Harta Jamaah Sendiran Berhad, which will provide a return of almost 800 million ringgit a year. Its financial position strengthened with total assets exceeding total liabilities of 1.2 billion ringgit, supported by improved portfolio investment performance, as well as overall healthy quality of assets after impairment was made in 2018. During the 3-month first quarter, more than 91,000 new savings accounts were opened, thereby increasing the total number of TH depositors to 9.3 million. Now on to the foreign fronts. The death toll from a major cyclone that hit eastern India and Bangladesh in early May rose to 77 on Monday as anger grew over millions of people still without power and water. Cyclone Fanny made landfall in Odisha state on May 3rd, packing winds of up to 200 kilometers per hour. The winds had damaged 500,000 houses, plundered hundreds of thousands of trees, and knocked out power, telecommunications, and water for millions of people in one of India's poorest states. 13 people also perished in Bangladesh after Fanny barreled northwards. Angry survivors, meanwhile, have even been taking to the streets to protest the slow pace of relief as well as high prices of essential food items and water. India initially won praise, including from the UN, for moving some 1.2 million people to safety before the storm arrived. But this praise has turned to anger for many local people at what they see as the slow pace of reconstruction and apathy from the authorities. Millions of Filipinos began voting on Monday to choose half of the nation's Senate in what is widely seen as a proxy battle between President Rodrigo Duterte and the opposition. Winning a Senate majority, something that independent national surveys indicate is well within reach, would give Duterte legislative backing for his anti-crime proposals and his plan to rewrite the constitution. The election, dubbed as a popularity test for Duterte, involves some 61 million people from more than 7,000 islands. Voters crowded voting centers in the capital Manila ahead of the polls opening at 6 a.m. local time.
Nag-aalinlangan pa rin eh. Pero ang inaano ko lang sana ngayon bumoto ako, yung mga binoto ko, gawin yung tungkulin nila. Kasi sa panahon ngayon dito sa Pilipinas, 16 years old, months old, hindi na nila sinasanto. Makikita mo na lang patay na.
Pro tayo, pero naglagay din tayo ng ilang antay para naman may check and balance.
Detained Philippine Senator Leila de Lima, a staunch critic of Duterte, was also among those who cast ballots in the election. More than 18,000 positions are at stake, including half of the seats in the Upper House Senate, which has served as a bulwark against some of Duterte's most controversial policies. Meanwhile, the country's leading opposition has been campaigning against Duterte's war on drugs, which is thought to have killed thousands of drug users, as well as alleged dealers, and is widely condemned by rights groups. Opinion polls suggest Monday's elections will strengthen Duterte and his political allies, and that only one of the 12 Senate seats up for grabs will go to the opposition. It could also speed up policy implementation, including tax reform and Duterte's plan to move the country to a federal system of government. Now, the Premier League title race between Manchester City and Liverpool went down to the wire, but there were to be no final twist in what has been a thrilling tale. Despite going a goal down in the first half, Manchester City retained the title after defeating Brighton at the Amex Stadium on Sunday, which means Liverpool's victory against the Wolves was in vain. The success was said to be the toughest title triumph of Pep Guardiola's illustrious managerial career.
But at the same time, I have to say thank you to Liverpool because they help us ourselves to be better than the last season. So we control each other, so close because they did an incredible season, but we did a little bit better. And that's why we're champion.
Following the trophy lift on England's south coast, the City team has gone straight back to Manchester to celebrate at its home ground. City's total of 98 points is the second highest haul in Premier League history, too shy of the 100 points Pep Guardiola's men acquired last year. Liverpool's 97 points, meanwhile, would have been enough to take top spot in every Premier League season bar the two most recent. In a remarkable season, City went toe-to-toe with Liverpool as both sides refused to bow down in the season's closing stages, and City's campaign concluded on a run of 14 consecutive wins.